Hey folks, it's Carl over at whomsahealthy.com. Thanks for tuning in. So we're back in New York City, and I'm at the Independent Training Spot right here in Manhattan. And today's topic is corrective exercise. And I can't think of anybody more knowledgeable to speak about this than my special guest, Richey.
Thank you.
Thanks again for taking time to share with us and join us for another episode.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
So, Rick is a faculty instructor for the National Academy of Sports Medicine. He's also the owner of this amazing place here. I love it here.
Thank you.
The Independent Training Spot. So before we get into the corrective exercise discussion, I wanted to ask you about your gym here. I mean, your facility is awesome. You opened earlier this year, right?
Yeah, we did. So we opened in June. So we're it's August right now, the end of August. So we've been 3 months into it. It's going well, so we're excited.
That's great. So obviously you have personal training here, and yourself. I know Aaron and Brent.
Yeah.
And we're not talking just any personal training. We're talking like the cream of the crop. I mean, these are the best trainers in the industry. And I know you have a lot of other trainers here. I just don't know who.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, it's an independent training facility, so it's called the Independent Training Spot. And really, we're trying to get independent trainers that want to run their own business. They either work at a corporate gym and they have their own private trainers on the side, or they are now developing and building their own private business completely away from a corporation. So they're independent trainers. They're personal trainers that work independently of a corporate gym.
And this is a facility they might be able to utilize.
Absolutely, sure.
That's great.
Yeah.
So besides personal training, I mean, that's just the beginning. You have other things you offer here too. Would you care to tell us?
I'd love to tell you about it. I've got Brent Bush is here. He's a physical therapist. He's a doctor of physical therapy. And so he has his office and his clinic here. Massage therapist. I'm a massage therapist as well. And so I do a lot of orthopedic massage. We got a couple tables that are set out for treatment. We have personal trainers. We've got personal trainers with different focuses. So some focus on performance, some focus on weight loss or corrective exercise, which is what we're going to be talking about today. So I like to think of this facility specifically as a corrective exercise performance enhancement facility, and then basically all the other goals that you may have generally fit within that topic.
And education.
Let's not forget education.
In fact, I'm here today partially for the education at 3 o'clock. I can't wait.
Every other Wednesday. So second and fourth Wednesdays of the month at 3 o'clock at Independent Training Spot, we do an hour from 3 to 4 of just like an in-service, a professional development.
Right.
And then we're closed on Sundays, so we open our doors up on Sundays for National Academy of Sports Medicine, for CPR classes, for pre and postnatal classes. So whoever is out there as an educator that's looking for a place in New York, we might have a space for you.
That's great. Well, let's segue into our discussion.
Let's talk
As a matter of fact, I remember the first time I met you, I was at the Corrective Exercise Specialist workshop somewhere here in Manhattan. Brent happened to be teaching that day, but you came over and you were there for a couple hours.
Just came down to wave at the guys.
But you also teach corrective exercise.
I do,
and I have to mention before I forget, there are some new videos released by NASM that they just came out. You just filmed them in the past few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely.
The link will be on the screen right now. You'll see it. To link to those videos because they're really good.
Thanks for adding those in.
Very articulate, great ways to learn about specific corrective exercises. But let's talk about corrective. I know for me, I would say out of all the credentials and certifications that I had as a trainer, the CES, Corrective Exercise Specialist, through NASM, is the single best tool in my toolbox.
Awesome.
in order for me to help my clients better. How would you describe corrective exercise? How do you describe it?
Well, corrective exercise is a way of looking at movement. And so if I've got somebody that's moving and I want to look at them and say, should you be moving better, right? So I have to know two things. I have to know what optimal positioning, what optimal patterns, what optimal posture looks like, whether you're standing, whether you're moving, whatever it is. I need to know what really good posture looks like. And then the other thing I need to know is I need to understand that if I move away from ideal posture, why is that happening? And so what that allows me to do as a corrective exercise specialist is I will look at posture and I'll find out what is optimal and what is not optimal. And then I can go in and say, okay, there are tight muscles that are pulling me away from optimal. And then there are weaker muscles that are allowing those muscles to pull me away, right?
Good way to look at it.
Right, yeah. So, and it's very simple. It's tight on one side, weak on the other.
Right.
And if you can figure that out, then all you have to do is go through this corrective exercise continuum that NASM uses that says you need to release tight muscles,
right.
Which would be things like using a foam roller or things that massage therapists do as they put pressure into you. So you're going to release the tight muscles.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to lengthen those muscles. So now that you've got them calmed down, let's stretch them out.
Right.
Right? So now they're not too tight.
Mm-hmm.
At least ideally and hypothetically, they're going to be calmer.
Right.
Once I've calmed those down, let's go to the other side and let's create activation for those muscles. Let's give strength to the muscles that are allowing that movement to be pulled out of the way.
Yep.
So now I've released and lengthened the shorter muscles.
Right.
I've given strength to the weaker muscles. And then the last component is to use it all together. So to do larger global full body movements so that my weak muscles and my overactive muscles are now starting to work together in unison
Right.
to create those optimal patterns.
Okay, great. So what would you describe as the main benefits for corrective exercise? I mean, I know from a trainer how I see it working for my clients, but I like how you articulate things. So,
Thank you. Well, I like to tell people that corrective exercise is performance enhancement and injury prevention. Can it help people that currently have a little pains here and there? Absolutely, but I also tell people you got folks coming into your gym with pain, send them out of your gym. Send them to Brent, the physical therapist, send them to their sports medicine doctor.
Right.
But if they got things like, oh, this kind of bugs me a little bit, sometimes it just takes a couple minutes and all of a sudden it's not bugging them anymore. I don't feel this pain anymore. And I will also say that I've had the opportunity to work with some elite and professional athletes, and what I end up doing more than the performance enhancement stuff is corrective exercise.
Right.
I mean, they're already professional athletes. So what do they need now? They need to not get injured. They need to not get hurt. And when I look at how they move, all I think is, how are you still put together, right? So I'll apply these corrective exercise techniques to some of these athletes as well, or performers, or whatever it is, to help really enhance their performance while minimizing that chance of injury.
That makes sense. Great. Thank you. That's great. So let's talk about trainers for just 1 minute here. What would you recommend to trainers as far as learning about corrective? Because I know for me, like I said, it's the single most valuable tool in my toolbox. This is something I imagine you would recommend to any trainer out there, probably. Right?
Absolutely. I think going through the corrective exercise specialist with NASM is probably more valuable than any other certification I've got. And when I first started, I said, I'm going to go for the performance enhancement specialist. And I thought, oh, that'll be great. And then I realized I don't work with athletes all the time.
Right.
And so, but even when I do work with them, I'm like, oh, that dude's messed up. Right? So it kind of went back to corrective exercise every time. So then I went back and got to the corrective exercise. They have a system, which is an amazing system to apply to your clients. So being able to put that system into place and just using that system even as a warm-up for your everyday client is amazing. And for what it can do for you as a trainer is obviously give you a very clear and appropriate warm-up for every single person that comes in. If you're going to stretch somebody before a session or after a session, you're going to do a warm-up, you're going to do a cool... Why are you doing it? And the corrective exercise specialist basically says, well, if you're going to stretch this muscle, make sure it's the tight one, then let's get it done. If you're going to do a cool down, make sure that you're doing it for a reason. And you have all your reasoning and all your basis down.
And actually, that was the subject of our first video, is proper warm-up and stretching for your sport or whatever, your workout. So thank you. This is great information. If you're a person looking to work with a trainer out there, of course, if you're in New York City, Independent Training Spot is where you want to be. And it's independenttrainingspot.com, right?
Correct.
We'll also run the Facebook link on here. And if you're a trainer out there, thinking about enhancing your knowledge base and your skill set, I would highly recommend contact NASM and look into the CES Corrective Exercise Specialist credential, because it's like no other that I've ever received, and it's the most valuable tool in my toolbox.
Excellent. Yeah, well, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
All right, so independenttrainingspot.com, and of course, our website is whomsahealthy.com. Thanks for tuning in, and have a great day.